My next guest can tell us a lot about the game shows. He's been on a ton of them. It's another edition of Ask Mike and Todd. Our top 5 game shows is tomorrow's category there, Todd.
I mean, really, let's be honest. Me and Pete T, we should flip segments. I should be on that one. He should be on this one.
Right? I mean, I'm sure you have a couple arcade games you like to fire our way as well.
Well, when I heard you say that, my favorite game was Cubert.
Right, we brought that Cubert up. It didn't make the top 5 for either one of us, but somebody brought that up.
Oh, man, I love that Cubert. That was a big one for me. Of course, Frogger. Frogger standard.
Right, you go that Frogger.
Yeah.
Damn
but, Pac-Man's always in the mix, but, the Frogger and the Cubert were really my two that I enjoyed the most.
Right, you go Cubert, you go Frogger, and that, Pac-Man, PT put in there. I had, Off-Road, Spy Hunter. Come on, those are classics.
Oh, yeah, that Spy Hunter was. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, so a couple things we want to dive into. What about Gronk being back? This thing happened in like 10 minutes. He went from, I think I might want to play, to if I play, I only want to play in Tampa, to, he's partying in Tampa already.
Well, I was getting blitzed by you, other friends over the last hour, and it was happening quick. Here's my thought on the initial as I hear this.
It was happening furiously.
Well, I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because my opinion would be this on the initial. It tells me a story, Gil. It tells me that did Gronk want to retire, or had he had enough? Because I've seen a couple of his interviews talking about the Patriots, and he got worn out with that system, with that team.
Many do.
And I'm wondering, did he wait, and then he saw his opportunity to say, "Oh, I want to go play for Bruce Arians down in Tampa where they're having a good time, and I'm a good time guy, and I'm going to have a lot of fun. I just didn't want to play for the Patriots anymore, and now my buddy Brady's going to be down there. Sign me up." That's what it feels like to me. Like he didn't genuinely want to retire because it was an early retirement. Was it that he just wanted to probably be done with the Patriots?
Well, I think that he had said, look, when he retired, he said he wanted to, it wasn't like I'm slamming the door on coming back. Because I asked the question earlier, would he have came back and played for the Patriots? I guess we'll never know. But he told the Patriots, look, I want to come back and play, but I only am going to play if I play for Tampa. In other words, I wasn't playing for Philly, L.A., Chicago, nobody. Only Brady. That's it. So I don't know. I thought last year he just needed the mental, and physical break. He looked like a worn-out guy in that last season that he played.
Yeah. No, he did. But did you see him last year, though? He's still a big guy, but he shrunk.
Yeah, he did. Well, he said he's been trying to put more weight on in the land.
Yeah.
He signed that contract with WWE. He's one of their champions right now. He's got that belt. They got that belt called the 24/7 belt where that you can get pinned at any moment of any time of your day. So during this pandemic, he could go down to Georgia and they can pin him out on the streets because you can go back out in Georgia.
That's great. Look, I think it's a great addition to Tampa Bay because really, for $10 million, I think, right? For 1 year.
1 year, $10 million. And by the way, dude, all they did was trade a 4th-round pick. You trade a 4th-round pick to get Gronk for 1 year, $10 million. That's a steal.
Well, didn't they also get a 7th round back?
Right, they got Gronk in a 7th for a 4th.
That's a steal. So this is what I'm saying. The risk reward to this deal is great for Tampa Bay. And again, they're trying to win now, and they know they've got a window of a year to 2 years with Brady. Well, 2 years, and they got Gronk for a year. Maybe they get him for a 2nd year. This is the time. These next 2 years. And again, they may bring in another quarterback and kind of mold somebody behind Brady, but this is what they want. And I'll tell you, they've already got a good tight end down there in Tampa. They're going to have a great setup for receiving for Brady. And he loves the tight end. So even if they do a 2 tight end set like they used to do with Hernandez and Gronk.
Well, the Brady, by the way, the MVP odds on Brady went from 20-1 to 16-1. Just like that. I'd like to see what those Super Bowl odds went to, those futures for them, because I think they're going to try to get the suckers to start putting money on the future Super Bowl odds for those Buccaneers, because now everybody's going to be jumping on that Buccaneer wagon.
Well, before Gronk got picked up today, man, I told my buddy, put your money on that Tampa Bay over-under, which I think they had at 9, and now I'm sure it's going up to at least 9.5, may even be 10. And I thought, I looked at the schedule, and I just felt good about them getting to the 10-win mark.
Ooh.
But now
you go over that number.
It gets itchy. Now it starts to get itchy. They start to rise that number.
Well, I saw it 9.5.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It was 9. Now it's 9.5. I mean, I don't know if it's going to move up to 10 now. This team's getting better and better. I mean, let's be honest. They're putting pieces together. It's going to be a fun team to watch. And again, I know Brady's older. A lot of the detractors are going to say, Todd, Brady is Brady, yes, but Brady is now, 42? I'm just telling you, you give him the right pieces. He doesn't have to win you games. He will never lose you a game, and he will always give you a chance to win the game. And if you got good players around him, this team's going to be really tough.
I'm intrigued. I definitely, because I don't know what to think of Brady from last year. Was he just down a step, or they just not have anything? I mean, he's had years in the past where he didn't have all the talent in the world, and they still. I mean, last year they just looked like a limited team. Almost 10 games last year, they looked like they were completely limited.
I agree, and they gave him nothing. I mean, and like you said, when he was younger, could he win with nothing? Yeah, he was better off to win with nothing. The reality is, yes, he is older. He's not going to win with nothing. You got to give him some pieces now. But he's still got the ability. He's got the smarts. He's smarter than anybody in the league at the quarterback position. And he's still got a good enough arm. And again, they've said he hasn't had the deep threat. I mean, we don't know. Does his arm still, can it go 60 yards down the field? Maybe it can if he's got a weapon, right?
Yeah.
So he's got those weapons now. It's going to be interesting to see.
No doubt. All right. I want to get some take on, I'm going to kind of morph over to this Ben Simmons stuff. So the Ben Simmons, there's this article that came out today. I don't know if you saw this on ESPN.com, but essentially, there's a whole segment about him not shooting, and that if he played in a different city, that maybe he would have shot right away because the pressure wouldn't have been there, and that, his high school coach said, if I was the Sixers, I'd basically say, I'd sit you if you don't shoot. I mean, this is a whole thing. Then Simmons said, look, I could shoot 30% right now, but I'd rather shoot 40%. So he doesn't want to shoot until he feels more comfortable, that percentage. I mean, this thing's a back and forth that, we're 3 years in the making here. This is a wild story.
Well, Gill, you and me have disagreed on this guy since he came into the league. And again, I don't say that he's not a talented player. But you're telling me your best player, which again, I would argue that it's Embiid, and I think a lot of people might agree with that. But you can't tell me that Ben Simmons is one of the greatest guards of all time, and he can't shoot the ball.
Well, he's not one of the greatest guards of all time. I mean, that's a ridiculous comment.
Well, that people think he will be.
I mean, he has the skill set and the talent to be a special player that is remembered. But the problem is he's holding his own self back.
Well, and again, I hate when they try to compare him to Magic Johnson and all these. No, I'm sorry. Yes, he's a good passer. Yes, he can dunk the ball. I'm sorry. That's not enough for me if you're my point guard. And the fact that you're going to pay him out on a max, and now he's telling you, and that what it is, and we've said this from the beginning, and Gill, I think you would agree, it's all between the ears with this kid.
Oh, there's no doubt. His high school coach, basically, the comment his high school coach, who's a pretty high-profile high school coach, by the way. I mean, it's not like he had some guy teaching. I mean, his high school coach was getting paid just to coach the basketball team. But his high school, I mean, I'm talking a pretty nice salary, by the way. His high school coach said, let's see, where is, all right, here we go. He says, I keep telling him, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. You're one of the best players in the world. You're dating a supermodel. So if you struggle and start 1 for 20, so what? He's got to get past, I don't want to read people saying I can't shoot. Well, right now they're saying you won't shoot, and that's worse, is what his coach said.
How does he think that that's better? This is what I mean, Gil. This is deeper. And even if he gives the excuse, I could shoot now and I'll shoot 30%, I want to wait till I can shoot 40. No, that's an excuse, and he'll keep making those excuses, Gil. And the problem is the Sixers organization feeding the excuse? Are they allowing the excuse? And that's the issue I've had with the Sixers organization.
Well, it's such a weird thing. So the high school coach said Boyle offered his own solution on how to coax Simmons into action. He said, threaten him. It's a technique that I insist Simmons has responded to before, especially considering his thirst for accountability. He says, quote, if I were in charge of the Sixers, I tell him, if you don't pull up jumper and a perimeter shot each half, I don't care about your percentages. You're sitting. And I don't know. I mean, now Brown says he claims that he had that conversation with Simmons and his parents last summer, but it's like, okay, if I pull them off the court, I'm losing my best defensive player. I'm losing the guy who runs my whole offense, all because I'm asking him to do something that he doesn't feel comfortable doing. I mean, this is a bizarre conversation for a guy who, oh, by the way, is a two-time All-Star.
Well, and what do you do? I mean, if you're the Sixers, Gill, and your point guard doesn't want to shoot the ball, what do you do? I mean, are you going to trade him? Does anybody even want him? I mean, I get it. He has other skill sets, and he's very good at those skills. But you're not going to get a team, I can't imagine, unless it's a really bad team that just wants to put seats, fans in the seat, even though we're in a pandemic. But, I mean, you're not going to take this guy if he can't shoot the ball. It's a shooter's league. You got to shoot the ball.
Well, and Brett Brown in this article says basically that he never had any house money. He said, quote, if Ben was with a team in his first few years that no one gave a rat's ass about and they were figuring it out with who the keepers were on their roster, he would have come in cranking threes. I'm sure of it. I don't know that I believe that.
I don't believe it either, because when he came in, the Sixers team was always a work in progress.
Well, not really. When he came here, his first year, they won 52 games. Like right off the bat, his rookie year, they were the 3 seed. So he never went through the rocky times. Remember, he broke his foot his first year, and he didn't play at all. And they won 28 games that year without him. And then the next year, they got him. They got Embiid. They signed J.J. Redick. So they went right from 28 to 52. They never had a period where he was on a team that wasn't very good.
Well, and the question then would be, if you look at him, you look at the great players of all time, right? These great players that have played the game, and they've always wanted to get better. So explain to me then how he doesn't want to either shoot the ball every day at home right now in his backyard or in his gym that he's built on his mansion or whatever.
Well, dude, and by the way, he shoots threes before games nonstop and makes one after another, after another, after another. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
So then this may be the interesting part of this, Gil. This may be the greatest thing that ever happened to him was this pandemic. And you know why? Because maybe it's the whole cold feet in front of the audience. If this NBA starts playing games with literally nobody in the stands, this guy starts shooting the ball,
right,
and you guys are going, wait a minute.
I let you go out on that note. I let you go out on that high note. I mean, that's showmanship right there. You go out on a high note. I mean, that's a great comment That's a great comment.
I wonder. I'd like you to keep talking about that, because that very well could be what gets him to the other side.
Ooh, you believe that no fans might be the thing that pushes him over the top.
It'd be unbelievable if basically we'd be watching him like it's practice.
Wow.
Meanwhile, it's a real game, nobody in the stands, and he says, I don't care, and he starts ducking it.
All right, that's how we'll end Ask Mike and Todd today. Todd Ranck, Mike Gill, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. That's a good one. That's how we end it. Thanks, man.
Take care, buddy.
All right, Todd Ranck, Ask Mike and Todd. We'll do it again tomorrow right here.